Ayan. So, good evening, Julia. Good evening, John Paulo and Mark. Uh,
Hindi.
I would like to apologize
Evening po.
for being late kasi kanina we are invited sa Campus One. Merong presentation sa Research Defense. So, let me just check. We are expecting different... so, si JP is here, Julia. Si Pau. Where is Pau? Tawagan mo natin si Pau. Okay. Now, before I start, were you able to watch our last recording? Kasi some of you did not attend the class. Julia, napanood mo ba yun? JP, napanood mo ba yung last time nag-ano tayo?
Andito po ako last time din.
So, you were able to watch. I think wala si Julia, wala ka nun, no?
Yes po.
Okay, Julia, I highly recommend to watch the video kasi we had a
Okay
lot
po.
of discussion. Now, you are looking at your group mates. I asked Dr. Manzano to join us. He will be the one. Kaming dalawa, Doc Dudes and myself will be helping you writing your paper. So eventually, we will be your co-author. Can anyone try to call Paula before we start so we can actually kasi she's not my contact. Any one of you? Can you try? She was here kanina ng 6:37. So, can you send a message? Are you online?
Nag-send na po ako din.
Okay, thank you. So, let's just wait for a few minutes. Now, siguro while waiting for Pau, since nandito naman siya, let me just,
Nag-login lang daw po siya din.
okay. So basically, let's just make a quick review since it's been a while that the last time nagkita tayo. So, teka. Okay, as a review, let us just have this muna habang hinintay si Pau. Okay. Last meeting, we discussed that our college, we want to strengthen our research culture, and we cited several awards from different entities for both for students and faculty. Yeah, you get to see this one is the first ever international presentation by by the student in Hong Kong. This is a combination of faculty and teachers presenting sa PCDEB. This is another empowering research focusing on events management with a partner with Dr. David Hind. And you will notice even the university president joined this event and several support groups such as URDC, Guidance. We have other colleges as well, CIS, and ano. And then recently, we're very proud that under the leadership of Dr. Manzano, four students had their paper published international. Yan. So talagang we are expecting uh, quality research. And of course, we also have publication. And then last meeting, we discussed what is research. And we discuss it in a manner that it is research is systematic, critical, theory, and hypothesis, and controlled. And we talk about research is a systematic effort, Later, we get to see the different parts from chapters 1 to 3. And then it's actually an investigation. And we combine that. The result of that paper is new knowledge and facts. So that means if we're gonna come up with the research, we are going to have new information. Then we also discussed last time nature of research. It's objective and logical, meaning we are basing some of our information from previous published paper, observable experience, empirical evidence, patient and herd activity, and accuracy. Another nature of research is it is the solution of the problem. You identify a particular problem, you look for a solution. It is carefully recorded. Some of the datas are primary, meaning this is first hand. You don't get it books, but it might be from interviews and observation. And then it's also existing data for new purpose. And the significance of research is the output of research. It can be basis for policies. You might realize that there are some policies that can be improved or changed. Another significance is operational planning. You want to make operations more efficient and effective. You want to have planning based from the resources that you have, the scarce resources. How can you maximize it? How you can make it more efficient and effective? Significance in decision making. You need research. You need data to have better decision making. And of course, you establish relationship amongst stakeholders and different entity. That's some of the significance. And then, kayo, as a good researcher, what are the qualities? We said research-oriented, efficient, scientific, effective, active, resourceful, creative, honest, economical, and religious. And just for the oversight of what's to come, the 7 basic steps in research is number one. The last time we had a discussion is I showed you how to use EBSCO for you to get to know and discuss topics that you are interested in. And then once the topic is identified by the group, by the way, this is already your group mates, okay? So Doctors and myself, there's no other members. You are the only students who will be taking chapters 1, 2, and 3. So eto na yung group mates nyo. So outside our classroom meeting online, I want you to also meet based from your availability. Now, I would like to apologize to some of the students who are not scheduled this time. Unfortunately, the original time of research is morning, which is not really feasible in my schedule. So I would like to appreciate that. Thank you for accommodating my request if we want to do a meeting during or after my classes kasi these are the only times that I am available. Now, after selecting a topic, you are now going to do chapter 2, review research theory. What are the theories that will support your variables? So this need times to do research. This is where you use EBSCO. This is where you use Google Scholar, among others. And then from the topic being selected, getting the theory, like what I mentioned earlier when we discussed before, if you are into motivations, there are several theories when it comes to motivations, di ba? When you took your macro, micro tourism, one of the popular theories is the push and pull, di ba? And then there's other theories as well that can support. Once you develop your questions, you determine what will be the method or design that will be appropriate for your paper. So these first four is expected for this sem. And then once you present before the panel, you will present chapters 1, 2, and 3. You will try to show the survey or the questionnaire that you want to use, and then it will be evaluated accordingly. And then once everyone is in the same page, the next semester from January to June, that's where you collect the data. After collecting data, it depends on your method. It can be quantitative. We discussed that. It can be mixed. And then once you collect the data, you analyze and interpret with the help of statistician. And then towards the end of the second sem, you're going to present results, recommendations. Okay, so that's the bird's view of the 7 steps in research. Now, I also discuss as a review the format. So these are some of the traditional format of research study. Doc Dudes, this is still the same. This is the updated version, right, Doc Dudes? Doc Dudes, are you there? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ayan,
Apo.
okay. And then moving forward, this is the chapter 1. So again, introduction, background of study, we will discuss that in details, but these are the major parts of the problem, the chapter 1. The significance of the study, the impedance of study, the scope and delimitation of study, what is your theoretical framework, what would then from that you will formulate your research question or SOP, statement of problem. If there's correlation required, then that's where we put hypothesis. If not, no need. And then conceptual framework and research simulacrum. So this is your blueprint. How in a how would the paper be, um, which is nakalagay sa framework. It will be the blueprint of your paper. Now for chapter 2, this is 3 parts. Review of related literature. So you already know the variables coming from the theoretical framework. You look at previous studies, you relate it. This is in the form of thematic approach. So you first put the first variable, second, third, and then other information that you want to include. And then at the end of this chapter 2, you synthesize the literature. What are the gaps? What are the what are the similarities, differences of the literature that you read? And then chapter 3, this is where you end your first semester. What will be the research design that you decided? What will be the appropriate research design? Who will be your subjects and study sites? Where? It's also important to indicate when. And then research instruments are the questionnaires or surveys that's being used, the data measure. What would be the procedure in terms of data gathering? So you're gonna give some steps that will illustrate how you would perform data gathering. And then all research, especially in Trinity University of Asia, we give importance in ethical consideration, especially if you're dealing with people. Uh, URDC is very, very strong in terms of submitting documentations to their department. So we have a different forms for that. And then what will be the statistical treatment and data analysis that will be required? So for instance, if you are looking at the first part, demographics, if it is more on an average, or it can be different, you have to look at what kind of questionnaire you have and what is the appropriate statistical treatment to address that, and what will be the output. And then for your June 2023, January 2023, you will start your chapter 4. You are now going to float your questionnaire, and then you get yung results. This is a little bit tedious kasi if you decided to do quantitative, and according to the your statistician, you need 200 sample or 200 respondents. This is where it takes a while. But medyo madali naman ngayon kasi online. But it sometimes URDC takes them a while to respond with regards to your ethical considerations and requirements. So, sa first week of January, dapat nakain na yun sa URDC. And then after that, you look for the results. You discuss it using, again, your RRL. And then the last chapters would be the summary, conclusion, and this is where the new knowledge comes in. What would be your recommendations? Okay. And then these are some of the references. Okay. Correspondence, research instrument is simply the survey. What's the timetable of your research? So you start from the month of August until now. You can come up with a simple Gantt chart. Statistical computation, what was used sa paper nyo, and other pertinent information or pertinent documents. Maybe you want to include the approval of URDC among others. Maybe siguro pati yung correction if you want to include. And then, very important, the CV of researchers. And then, so PowerPoint, again, this is available. Just scroll up sa group chat natin. So, if you want to know how abstract is being done or how it's made, so this is some of the practical information. Now, normally the abstract is done after chapters 1, 2, and 3 is already completed, because the abstract is like your Instagrammable or the trailer of the movie. It gives the summary of your paper. So this is really towards the end of December or November. And then the main body of the paper, again, introduction, statement of the problem, hypothesis, significance of the study, scope and limitation. Again, this is another way of doing related literature is through thematic presentation, meaning include all the same topics. Like if your variable talks about push strategy, then all the push strategy that you read, you may include that in your presentation. And then conceptual framework, again, this is the blueprint. And then theoretical framework, what is the theory behind your paper that is being discussed. Definition of terms, these are operational terms. If you say push, what does that mean in the perspective of your paper? Pull, yan. So, nandyan lahat. And then methodology, again, it talks about research design in terms of population, sample size, sampling technique. For qualitative, meaning you do a focus group discussion or interview. You can discuss what will be, how many people, how many participants, and what will be the reason of choosing those participants. And then research local. And then sa chapter 3, methodology, we continue research local, research instrument, ito yung survey, data collection procedure, data analysis procedure, and ethical consideration. This 4 and 5, we'll discuss it towards the January 2023. Or later on, if we still have time, just a quick information for these two chapters, last two chapters. Yeah, when we talk about methods, it can be quantitative. So that means in terms of your survey, you ask a certain number of population that represents a sampling that represents a population. So an example will be 100, 200 respondents, and then there's a questionnaire that being populated, And normally it's Likert scale, Likert scale. So later on, maybe I'll show you an example of a quantitative. Now, another method is the qualitative. These are in terms less. Later on, I'll show you the differences. And then mix. Mix simply means both quantitative and qualitative. So in my paper, when I was doing my dissertation, I used the mix method. I studied the motivation of tourists in Intramuros, and the output will be what will be the proper marketing strategy for Intramuros tourists. So sa qualitative ko, just for sharing, I interviewed 10 different stakeholders na 4 hours. So I invited someone from the academe. I invited someone from the government industry, both IA, para they would know, I would know their perspective. And of course, I invited someone from DOT, and then academe. And I also invited the uh, presidents from different national organizations such as PTAA, and the key for this qualitative for the focus group discussion is you have to get a very good um, parang middleman or someone who can ask questions to your stakeholders, and then that person can actually balance the discussion. Now, when you talk about mix, yun, Sir Dudes, ikaw ba ay, when you did your dissertation, is it quantitative or qualitative or mix?
Purely, ano sir, purely quantitative.
Yeah. So in the case of Doc Dudes, he was studying about parks. I think parks pa? Tama ba, Brother Dudes? Sa Enchanted Kingdom. Uh,
Theme
theme
parks, or
parks. And
amusement parks.
ano yung satisfaction ba yon? Or ano?
Customer retention and satisfaction.
Ayun. So, napaka-importante yun. Customer satisfaction. So, the study would like to see what is the definition of customer satisfaction, and basically how the theme parks being identified in the study to understand what makes customer happy, di ba? And of course, and then another slide, yan. So just a quick definition of qualitative, quantitative. Number one, expand or understand a phenomenon. So ang isang napakagandang example dati, yung about cruise line. Kasi nung nauso yung cruise line, a lot of schools are doing cruise line as their example or as their um, uh, international tour. So parang bakit kaya halos lahat ng schools nagkakaroon ng interest sa cruise line? So that's qualitative. They studied a group of students. They use diary. They use interview. They have a focus group discussion. Why naging super popular ang cruise line? And I think that happened during the 2016, 17, 18. So that's qualitative. So the researcher selected different stakeholders. It might be coming from the students, the faculty, and maybe the stakeholders of the industries. And then from that interview, they get to understand clearly the definition of that kind of phenomenon. Di ba? Maybe in the case of the teacher, um, it can improve the learnings of the students, practical learning or practical approach. Sa point of view siguro ng students, they would like to be familiar about the cruise line and later on be part of that industry. Kaya they decided to join. Because remember guys, ang international tour or even domestic tour are not mandatory. They are actually optional. So if kung maabutan nyo ulit na merong tour ulit, again, it's not mandatory. And then if you cannot join the tour, there's always an alternative. But it's always our surprise that students end up joining a tour. So it's a phenomenon, di ba? Siguro ngayon, another good example of phenomenon is the digital era, di ba? Artificial intelligence. Maybe your proponents can be someone who develop apps or scientists or anyone that is related to that industry. Yung mga frontliner, di ba? Yung mga uh, industry 5.0, di ba? Now, sa quantitative, it understands relationship between two quantifiable variables. So again, if you are doing a survey, you want to see, like what Doc Dudes mentioned, there are two quantifiable variables. It was the customer satisfaction and customer retention. So in his paper, if you take a look at it, there's a survey, and in each variables there's a certain question, and then the quantitative, that's where the statistical method is being applied, di ba? So again, later on we will discuss that in details. Now yung mix, uh, indication of key areas. So you are very, very specific that you are using quantitative because you want to measure a variable that was identified. So in my case, it was a push and pull and the variables. And then sa qualitative ko, I want to know what are the thoughts of the stakeholder sa industry. So makikita nyo sa mixed method, parang I get to see the holistic point of view because I got the qualitative part, which is the stakeholders of Intramuros. And at the same time, I got the quantitative part coming from the tourists. So if you combine that, you can actually use the data or play around. In fact, yun yung mga strategy ng mga researcher to. Sabi nga namin ni Doc Dudes, if you have a mixed method, you end up possible having three publication. One qualitative, one quantitative, and one mixed method. So, imagine nyo, parang kape lang yan, 3 and 1. May isang paper ka, but you can salami research it into three. Okay, balik tayo sa table. Qualitative, design, study driven by induction and exploration rather than by theory. So, you understand a phenomenon, you understand what's happening, and then you don't put first the theory, you understand the proponents or the participants. One good friend of mine, he decided to study sex tourism, and he wants to understand the point of view of uh, the other equation, yung mga yung mga sex workers, okay? Now, he doesn't start it with theory. He wants to understand what is the uh, exp- he wants to explore why someone would be a sex worker in the tourism industry. So I think he spent 5 to 8 months studying a group of people. You don't need a lot. Mga 4 or 5 proponents, okay na yun. And then let's go to quantitative design study driven by theory rather than in that. So dito, as I mentioned kanina, theoretical framework, you started with a theory. Like in my case, I started push and pull. And then I used those variables. My groundbreaking theory is I'm working with the push and pull. So you can start your group in such a way na quantitative, there's a theory that is supporting. Okay? And then sa mixed method, description, justification, design derives logically from problem. In my case, since it's mixed method, I identify to satisfy the quantitative, but at the same time, I would like to do an exploration to understand my stakeholders' perspective. So there's no theory for me as guidance to theory. In fact, when I interviewed my stakeholders, I started asking what is your concern in terms of intramuros. So, nakakatuwa, Doc Dudes, kasi different stakeholders, they identified different perspective. So, you can use that, okay? And then sa qualitative, you include research questions but no hypothesis because there is no correlation. It's more about you can theories or research questions are used for guiding the question sa FGD. So before you do the focus group discussion, definitely you have to have an idea what is the output that I want to produce when I do this qualitative research, and why did I invite these people. So with this in mind, you have a perfectly clear idea what are the questions you want to ask them. And then what's good about qualitative, nanganganak siya eh. Whenever there's a question, there's another question leading another question. But dapat magaling talaga yung moderator mo because sometimes one person can dominate the discussion. So if that happens, you don't get a very you don't get a full perspective of that exploratory research or what you want to happen. And then quantitative, of course, you include a null and alternative hypothesis for each research question. Yung correlation, so that's the use of hypotheses, including the null. And then the mixed method, elements drawn from quantitative and qualitative content. So it will be separate. Okay. What are the things that you get from quantitative based from the theories, from the hypotheses, and then what are the things that you get from the qualitative? And then last for the quantitative, you explain process for coding or categorizing data. You try to set it as thematic. Like for instance, going back to my paper, when we look at the interview, you will see the same patterns from different stakeholders. So you have to make a thematic out of that, and from there you can now conclude exploration or a phenomenon from that. Okay. Now, we will discuss this more, but in a nutshell, that's what a design looks like. Siguro sa undergrad, ano brother dudes, kaya ba nilang mixed method kaya? Let's see, depending on the time, di ba? So the next paper or the next dates is this one. So today is October 14, and let us put some dates as guidelines. So sa chapter 1, you work as a group, identify a topic, and then you know already what's in chapter 1. Later on we will discuss in details. I hope by October 28, you can submit your draft chapter 1, and Doc Dudes and myself will take a look at it. Okay? Now, it can be earlier. I think mas maganda kung kaya nyo earlier. I think you have more time naman eh kasi some of you are just taking this subject. So you work smart, okay? You again, I would encourage you to meet outside our meeting, okay? You guys are ano naman eh responsible. Nandiyan naman si
Sir,
Mark.
sorry. What
Yes.
time? Ay, sorry. Ano pong date ulit? Sorry to interrupt.
October 28. Ay bakit you don't get to see my
Okay.
my panel? I may ano? My you don't see my ano
Ay, okay na po.
presentation?
Naglo-load po kasi sa akin. Sorry.
Okay, okay. So, but
Thank
everyone,
you.
can you see? Mark, JP, Julia, you see my
Yes po, yes
PowerPoint?
po.
Okay,
Yes
okay.
po.
Now, November 11, chapter 2. Among the chapters, this is the I think the meat of your paper. This is where you put research work, your collaboration. Uh, So I decided to put a little time. So November 11. So that's a lot of time from now. And then in chapter 3, that's the one of the kaya-kaya nyo agad yan because all you have to do is just discuss what would be the method, how would you collect, what would be the so this chapter 3 is basically you can do it like a day or two or three. Tama ba, Sir Dudes? Chapter 3 is very straightforward. Kasi chapter 3 is you just look at chapters 1 and 2 and what would be the appropriate statistical procedure among others. Tama ba, Brother Dudes? Or should I put more sa chapter 3? Okay lang yan, ano? What do you think?
Okay lang yan, sir. Mabilis lang
Oo.
naman talaga ang chapter 3.
Mabilis na. Ang ano lang talaga is chapter 2. Now, let us target December 9 to submit your manuscript for title defense. Now, since this is tutorial, we will also do the same procedure. What is the procedure? We are going to invite panel members to examine your paper. Now, the panel members, yung role nila is to make sure that your paper is in very promising and publishable. Not parang there's a promise that it can be published later. So they will look at your RRL, they will look at the SOP, conceptual framework, to see if everything is aligned. And then, maganda sana by December 9, meron na kayong, kunyari if it is quantitative, maybe maganda sana if you already have your questionnaire. Papakita nyo na, ma'am, sir, ito na yung questionnaire na gagamitin namin. It can be adapted. Okay? Kaya nga importante yung chapter 2, basa, basa, basa kasi there might be some survey that you can simply adapt. And then because of that survey, if they agreed, sometimes the survey also, nandun na nakalagay yung possible SOP nyo. Di ba? So, kunyari, nakita nyo sa survey na yan, the first part is demographics. So, SOP nyo, number 1, alam nyo, it's all about demographics. And then you break it down into gender, etc., etc., etc. And then the section 2, assuming that you get, by Sir Alden, part 2, section 2 can be all about customer retention tulad ng example ni Doc Dudes, 'di ba? So a lot mga different parameters that supports customer retention and then customer satisfaction. Ayan. Yun. And then that's our objective. Once they agreed the questionnaire, once they decided to continue once that you identify what needs to be revised, the next thing is you make a revision matrix. So chapter 1, ano yung sinabi nila, chapter 2, chapter 3. And this part is easier na because you exactly know what they want, what they are looking for. So all you have to do is just comply what the comments will be. Common comments will be make sure that your RRL is 5 years and above, di ba? Kasi sometimes very particular yung mga ibang panel. There might be some updated papers that you might miss out. So make sure if it's 2022, 5 years prior to that is also recommended. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. So 5 years. Now, do not be super close naman na dapat 5 years lang because minsan kasi, totoo naman sa research, you get a literature that is older than that. Okay lang yon. Papayagan naman namin ni Doc Dudes yun. But hindi naman majority older than 5 years. Okay? Doc Dudes, pumapayag ka ba doon sa mga older than 5 years? Kahit isa o dalawa lang. Pwede naman di ba, Doc Dudes? Hindi naman kami super
Okay lang,
strict.
boss. Basta essentials yan. Basta essential yung gagamitin nyo.
Yeah,
Kumbaga, may value.
yes, yun. Now, so that's the topic that we discussed last time. Okay? Now, let me just close this one and siguro some of you the first time. Paula, you were here last time, no? We had
Yes po.
so I keep on emphasizing we also spend a good quality of time showing EBSCO. So is siguro kami ni Doc Dudes, we would like to know at your end how are you in terms of this paper para we will know what to do next. So, nag-meet na ba kayo as a group o hindi pa?
Yesterday po, yes, last night po, nag-meet kami to brainstorm about the title or yung
Yes, the
topic na
topic.
pwede namin maging topic. Actually,
Okay.
yung nag-meet po kasi kami, kasi, parang inano lang po namin kung ano yung mga possible na topic na pwede namin gamitin. I
Correct.
mean, magiging topic namin. Pero kasi, sabi ko po kasi sa kanila, ito para sa akin lang, yung topic na gagawin namin sa, if possible, kasi medyo hirap po kasi kami sa time, parang hindi kasi nagkahatugma-tugma yung time namin na may available. So sabi
Oo.
ko, para hindi rin kami masyadong mahirapan with regards to the, yung kunyari, like yung sa pag-conduct ng mga questionnaire, or ng survey, kung mas maganda sana yung pinaka-subject namin na magiging ano namin, more on students or may age bracket lang para madali makahanap ng respondents.
Correct. That's a
Mm.
very good tip. Siguro, first, who are your possible respondents, di ba? So, you can start with students or are they HUIs, are they ano, and then yung topic, is there any topic that was discussed yesterday?
Yes po, pero more on technology po.
Ayun, magandang ano 'yon, magandang topic. So, so that's technology, what else?
Yun sa kahapon kasi parang more on technology talaga yung naisip namin. We have three different titles na napag-usapan. Pero we can still ano naman kasi parang nag-ano lang kami, nagbase kami dun sa na-discuss natin before about dun sa isang research na present niya sa amin about dun sa travel vlogging. So parang dun din kumuha din kami ng idea dun. So yung mga topics na nakuha namin is wait lang po. Wait lang.
Oo.
Mm, influence of social media to tourism and hospitality industry. Sa mga age na 18 years old to 22. Hindi namin siya categorize as college students of Trinity. Kasi gusto namin siya maging mas malawak pa dun sa, hindi lang sa Trinity University of Asia or mas malawak pa, basta yung age niya, nag-range siya 18 to 22. So we can have friends na out na pwedeng hindi nag-aaral or pwedeng nag-aaral, parang ganun. Tapos po, yung isa is how does technology help tourism and hospitality industry conquer during COVID-19 pandemic? And yung isa po is mobile technology reshapes the travel of, I mean, mobile technology reshapes the travel industry.
Mobile technology.
Mm-mm.
Okay. What are
Pero
your sige, go
nag-ano
ahead.
lang po kasi kami, nagtingin din kami sa online, nagtingin kami ng mga possible na about it. Pero sabi ko nga sa nila, baka kung may maisip pa sila, pwede pa namin uh, pag-usapan ulit.
Okay. Doc Dudes, any thoughts? Siguro, maganda. This is what we're gonna do. Sige, Doc Dudes, I think he's about to share.
Uh, it- Although you're thinking na you're trying to limit yung inyong topic, but still it is quite large, no?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can, siguro it would be better if you can start with yung limitations na gusto nyo mangyari or then the scope of your study. Sabay ninyo dun sa topic ninyo para madali natin ma-confine kung ano lang yung pwedeng gawin saka yung doable. Yun lang muna, sir.
Tama yan, tama. Siguro, with that in line, so any questions regarding sa sinuggest ni Doc Dudes? So, sinabi niya, be more specific because By the way, Paula, thank you for sharing. Uh, it's still vague in the sense. Siguro ito, what we can do is, nakita ko tong one of the PowerPoint ni Doc Dudes. Siguro since you are what, 4 or 5 in this group, um, during the weekend, I want each and every one of you to propose 3 topics of your choice. And then, siguro gawin natin, let's meet on Monday at around 6 o'clock. Nandito pa naman kami, or 7. Basta mag-meet tayo ng Monday. And each and one of you will present. Okay? Baka may makuha na tayong topic. Because what I want is to have a clear topic na for at least next week. And then while during the weekend, look at 5 journals related to the topic that you uh, propose. Okay? So, kunyari, tama si Paula, let's say, kunwari, ang topic is mobile technology, how to affect the travel choice or whatever. And then from that topic, look at 5 journals related to what was mentioned. And then Monday, we are going to discuss as a group the different topics you choose. Siguro we try to brainstorm. And then on Monday, we will decide which are the top 3 topics. Okay? And then siguro dito sa may individual, once na may 3 topics kayo, maybe isama nyo rin dito yung tinuro ko sa inyo last time. Ilagay nyo yung title, yung author, yung date, when it was published, para when you present, in a nutshell, we see right away if it is relevant or the data is not no longer, maybe it's older than 5 years. And then from there, we end our conversation on Monday, a working title. And then all the groups will decide, or we will work and start making and developing related journals to that topic. So is that something na okay sa lahat? At least Saturday, Sunday, you can spend probably 1 hour, 2 hour, three topics per person. Di ba? What do you think, Doc Dudes? Is this a good activity for everyone? Para at least when we discuss on Monday, lalo na, I would like to encourage, if you have the title and then while reading the article or my journal, kung may nakita kayong instrument na ginamit, then you can include that in your presentation. And each siguro will give 10 minutes presentation per student. So that means one topic, you have 3 minutes to discuss. So topic, ito yung journals na kuha ko, and then if possible, meron ako nakitang instrument. And then, what do you think, guys? That will be something exciting to do?
Yes, Dean.
Di ba?
Yes po.
Para at
Opo.
least, para at least,
Tsaka guided nyo na din po kami.
oo, guided na tayo sa Monday. And then kami naman ni Doc Dudes, minsan, we will try to see if may stumble kaming topic. We are not going to push the topic sa inyo, but maybe we can just share it. And then if you like the direction of that topic or paper, then we can start doing the journals related to the topic. But siguro ngayon, ano tayo, individual investigation. It can be qualitative, it can be quantitative, it can be mixed. So yun muna, first stage, the topic. And then we agreed on Monday. Yun yung magiging output natin sa Monday. What do you think? Mabilis lang yun kasi presentation and then we make a decision and then ano na. Okay ba yun, Doc Dudes, sa end mo? And then once na meron tayong topic, then we can continue our discussion para siyang workshop. Para when we talk about related literature, after our discussion, you can now do what it means to gather related literature. Diba? So, nabanggit ko ba sa inyo last time, yung ginawa kong parang chart on how you research capsule? Pinakita ko ba yun? Hindi. Last time.
No po.
Ayun. So you can have that as your guide. Again, you can actually come up with your own title. So, yun. Kasi bawat research naman meron naman instrument na ginamit yan So we have to all look at that. Doc Dudes, what do you think? Is that something more exciting approach? Para at least we get to hear from John Paulo, we can hear from Paula, para kayong parehas na J, P, J, yan. And then we get to hear from Julia May, and then we can hear from Mark Echo. Kasi selecting a topic is challenging, especially coming from different interests, different background. Some of you might be tourism, some of you might be HM, and then of course different preference. What do you think, Mark? Is that something workable and doable at your end?
Yes po.
Very good. How about you, Miss Julia? O wala ba kayong conflict on Monday? What time is your
May class po ako nun din.
May?
Ako din po sir, meron din po akong class 1:30 to 3 po.
Hindi naman, magbibigay tayo ng
Okay
7 Oo, 7. Ano lang, short lang, parang ganito lang na ano. Ayan, sabi nga ni Doc Dudes, something that's close to your heart. Di ba? Something that you're, ayan. Ayan, very good, John Paul. Meron ka ng GC. Ayan, sabi ni Doc Dudes, topic close to your heart, and then things
Okay lang
that you
po
like to.
din. Last
Oo.
class ko naman po is 4:30.
Ayan. Saka,
Okay.
guys, next week is midterms. So may mga exam kayo. So
Opo.
some of you
Pupunta
onti
ng
na
school.
hindi, online ka na. Online ka lang.
Online na po ba?
Oo, online ka. Ano bang klase
Kasi
mo?
sabi po ni Sir Mark, ano po face-to-face na daw po ang namin, midterm namin.
Kailan niya sinabi yon?
Nung last time po ng prelims. Pero hindi po ako sure sa ibang subject ko.
Hindi, kasi lahat
wala pa
ng
naman po nade-declare.
yung hindi boards, hindi sa online. Online siya, online. Mukhang nagluluto ka pa ng ulam.
Ay, sorry din. Yes po, sorry.
Mukhang
Kasi nandito na po
mukhang
yung parents ko.
mukhang gusto mag-share ni Julia ng food, ng dinner. Nagugutom na si
Sorry
Mark.
po.
Hindi, joke. Joke
Nandito na
lang.
po kasi yung parents ko.
Ayan. Sige,
Sa ano.
I think this is a good activity. 3 topics of your choice. Topics that's close to you. Topics that you like to do. And then sa 3 topics na yun, each topic, at least 5 journals related to the topic. And then para hindi kayo mahirapan, yung tinuro ko sa inyo last time, research capsule, author, title, keywords, what was the research objective or problem, what was the results, conclusion, recommendation, what was the method na ginawa nila. Kasi lahat naman dun sa papers na nababasahin nyo, in-explain nila how to do that. And if you look at some of the parts, makikita nyo na yung mga how the question was formulated. So it's your job to make things easier by doing that kind of data gathering. Para when you present, isang tabular paper lang siya, and then it's easy to understand. So yon. So I think this is also a good exercise kasi once you choose your topic, the rest of you or every one of you will look for a journal related to the topic that's being decided upon. Di ba, Doc Dudes? So, ginawa lang natin to, nag-warm up lang tayo sa activity, pero by Monday evening, meron na kayong working title. And then from there, that's your thesis na. Another suggestion siguro to the group, kasi our desire, amin ni Doc Dudes, is to publish your paper. And one of the things that's very, very common and popular is events management. And meron kasi tayong alam na publication that actually would like to publish your paper if it's related to events management, yung APM. The president of APM is a dear friend of our college and kay Doc Dudes. So that's only my suggestion, events. So maybe si Mark, since he's into events, one of his topics can be more on events. Maybe it can be a new normal, new protocol, or it can be a smart tourism of what events is all about. Mga ganon. Just again, go back to EBSCO because the EBSCO is where you find your materials. Now, to those who are not familiar on how to use EBSCO, go back, scroll up, watch the video that we did last time. I did at least 45 minutes on how to use EBSCO. So again, watch. There's a tutorial on how we can use that. And I think wala nang problem sa inyo in terms of TUWA email. Everyone has TUWA email. Everyone uh, has an access of EBSCO. Everyone has an access of TLC. So, yun yung ano natin. Yun yung ating gagawin. Now, siguro later, towards the end or mamaya, I will post the PowerPoint that contains the dates to remember para it can serve as your guideline. Okay? So, we if we can submit earlier, then better. Okay? Anything that is earlier is always welcome sa amin ni Doc Dudes. Okay. So, I think kakain na si Julia. So, any questions? Any
None
questions,
po.
guys? Okay,
And
Mark?
so
Wala.
far po,
Okay. So, we will meet. Okay. Let's recap. We are going to meet on Monday, October 17. Let me just book it na. Now, if Doc Dudes is available, is welcome to join. So let's peg na lang ng after dinner. Is that okay? 7:30. Ano mas ba dinner nyo? Or before dinner? Ano mas prefer nyo?
After na lang po.
After dinner na lang.
Okay, what time is after dinner sa inyo? 7:30 or 8?
7:30 na lang.
Sa akin po anytime.
Ah,
Kasi may class po ako until 7:30 pero pwede
Oh?
naman pong
What's your class at 7:30, ma'am?
managerial account. Pero sa tingin ko po, exam lang naman po eh. So, kung mabilis matapos, di wala naman ako.
Siguro ang gagawin na lang natin, let us peg sa 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Now, if everyone would like to have a earlier than that, we can always adjust. Okay, so I'll put the guest, Ronald Manzano, Julia Macunawa, Pau. Pau De Leon, no? Paula De Leon.
Paula De Leon po.
Ayun. And then, John Paulo, and then Mark. Echo ba yun, sir? Echo?
Yes po.
Echo. Echo. Marvin, Echo.
Yes po.
Okay. So, Ronald ba? Ayan. So, if you look at your, eto to, para makita nyo na rin, let me share. Although maybe you might be familiar na. Okay. So, this is an example of an email. Okay. And then, go to the 6 dots and then look at the calendar. So on Monday, if you click on Monday, boom, yan, October 17, na ano ko na peg ko na. So all you have to do is click on that portion, join. But don't worry, on Monday morning, I will remind everyone by sending this copy of the details of our meeting. Okay? So, So we start at wag nang 7 o'clock kasi baka mamaya masyadong may exam pa. Tuwin na natin 8. Pero may provision to na we can make it earlier. Yan. Yan. So 8 o'clock. Okay? So if there's no question, good night everyone. Enjoy your weekend and start na tayo magbasa-basa because this will be an exciting work for everyone. Ang atin is to learn something and ma-publish tong paper natin with the help of Doc Dudes and some of our faculty. Okay? So kung wala na question, this is Din Pong from Trinity University of Asia sa office signing off. Doc Dudes, nandiyan ka ba sa Barsam?
Oo, boss, dito pa ako.
Oo, huwag nyo nang sabihin kay Doc Dudes sa Barsam may multo. Baka matakot eh. Okay guys, can you open your camera to document our meeting for today? I would understand kapag hindi binuksan ni Doc Dudes kasi wala naman atang camera sa... may camera! Aba,
Laptop.
ayan. Laptop. Okay, sige. Sir Mark, mukhang malamig dyan. Sir Mark, mukhang nagwi-winter ka dyan, ha? John Paulo. Nandiyan ka ba? John Paulo. Ayan. And then, Julia. Julia, nandiyan ka ba? Ayan. Okay. On 3. Picture. 1, 2, 3. Yan. Okay, guys. Thank you. I'll
Thank you
post
po. Good
this
night.
picture.
Thank you,
Good
Dean.
night.
Thanks,
Good night.
Dean. Thanks, Sir
Thank you
Dudes.
po.
Good night
Thank
po.
you.
God bless.
Ingat
God
kayo.
bless. Ingat. Ano, Doc Dudes? Uwi na tayo?
Mag-out pa ako.
Out pa rin ako. Sige, kita tayo sa guard.
Sige, boss.